2016. So I was still at Fight Network when Rogan had brought me in, and I started doing some breakdowns for the digital department at the UFC. And then I did some bunch of different commentary on Fight Pass for them that they would fly me to. I did one piece. So Dana told the senior vice president of whatever booking and the guy who runs all the jobs, I want to try him on commentary. So, and meanwhile, they didn't know I'd already done 600 shows. So I did a judo Brazil, and it went pretty well. And then we went on vacation. The next one was 4 weeks later, and I found out Michael Bisping was doing it. So we go on vacation. We're in Mexico. My wife and I's only vacation of the year. And we said we're going to leave our phones alone. But instead, I look at my phone, and it says Luke Rock, whoever Luke Rockhold was fighting is out. Michael Bisping is in this weekend. And I looked at it and I said, oh shit, Mike was supposed to do the show. Like my way to be commentating at the lowest level of the UFC thing. Wait, Mike's out. And I said to my wife, and we've both been drinking tequila, I said, if I send a text and say, hey, I'm available, and I do this, now, and this is my error because I've learned to never expect anyone to remember what you did or to pay you back or whatever. If you do something, you should do it for its own purpose. And I broke that truth because I literally was like, if I jump in now from Mexico and I go to Burbank and I do this show for them, they'll remember it. And this might be the key to it. I could be sitting next to Rogan and Anna in a year from now, and it'll be great. And she goes, just send the email. So send the email. We come back, and the guy writes, you're my Huckleberry. We'll send a flight for it. I leave my wife on the beach in Mexico to get on a plane, to go to Burbank, to commentate a show nobody watches on Fight Pass, to let these motherfuckers know that this is the kind of guy I am. That then got me, after that, they gave me the next 3. And Dominic Cruz had come up to commentary via this route with about 5. And I did the next 2 or 3. Then they gave me the next 3 or 4. And just as I had said, okay, I'm down for those next 3 or 4. And I thought, shit, I'm going to be like doing a UFC after this. They were sold to Endeavor, and that thing ceased to exist. That gig ceased to exist. And all their internal shuffling happened, as happens at big companies. People are laid off and stuff. And I fall through the cracks, and a year later, I've had no work with them. And, obviously now you're thinking they'll remember I left my wife on the beach to come do this because that obviously they have 100,000 other things happen. And eventually I was just like, I can't stay hanging in here. So I wrote a text or an email, and I since apologized, but I wrote a text or an email to that vice president and said, fuck this. I'm going to Singapore. I'm going to go meet with Chatri. This is bullshit. Besides, I don't really like these shows anyways. I literally did that. And I for real did that. I'd since apologized. It's like, that's rude. But I did that to free my mind of sitting there waiting, checking emails, sending the right. It was all against my authentic way of thinking, begging and brown nosing, all that. I don't believe in it. I don't believe it's the way to live. And I was doing it. And this is a quick aside. When I played in my band, we had a real audience that really liked us. And we had an online presence that was much bigger than how we were in the world. And chat rooms and message boards, those were our audience. And I spent a lot of time trying to get major labels to sign my band when I really should have spent that time serving that audience. Yeah. And it was undermining my relationship with that audience. It was disrespectful. And why do I want some major label to do that? Is it because I want to feel accepted? Is it because I want to feel special? Is it because the teenage me thinks it would be really amazing to tell my friends I'm a major label? Why am I begging these guys? And I remember thinking after, I'm never going to do that again. And then I find myself doing that with the UFC. I find myself begging this senior vice president of whatever for gigs and sending follow-up emails. And suddenly I'm like, no, not again. So I sent a sort of a self-destruct, go fuck yourself email. And then I sailed away from that and then moved all into the direction that I am right now. I did go to Singapore and I did interview with One Championship. I was there for 12 or 13 days. I interviewed with Rich Franklin and Chatri and 3 or 4 other people. And they kind of started the negotiation process of me working for them. And it was the same kind of thing. I liked them. I liked what was happening. I liked But I went to them and I said, if I'm going to be exclusive and not be able to make my own stuff my way, I want a shitload of money, because that'll also mean you've spent a shitload of money. So you're going to use me now.
Yeah.
And when we started going down that road of a shitload of money, we sort of petered out. Again, in retrospect, I feel like it was a self-destruct thing. That was the wrong path for me. This was the right path. And I knew it intuitively. And so I've kind of burned the boats a couple of times to force myself out into this water where I am, where I have no choice but to do it myself. Every single time a large corporate offer comes my way, I have that same process. This is wrong for you. This is not the way you should go. And I, freedom wise, art wise, audience wise, happiness wise, money wise, I'm way ahead having done it this way. But it's dangerous and scary, and at first, and you don't know you're going to end up sitting here talking to your friend Jeff about how well it's going. 3 years ago, I hoped that was the case, or 4 years ago, I hoped that was the case. Now that it is the case, I don't want to act like I always knew it was going to work, because it was scary. It was really scary to be on your own doing it yourself.